All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today and see, if these two Google searches, local search and city search, have BSS, yes or no. And back here in the GBC universe, we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, FSIC is our North Star, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video, wherever. It's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our full spectrum intent capture here in white. Got our highest intent peeps over on the left. There's people using social search, Google search, looking for a boudoir photo shoot in their city today. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent people, and we deal with those with our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS, and we're currently only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But here, these videos talk about BSS. And BSS is boudoir search sameness. That means a boudoir photographer has either a 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. Both are terrible. If we got 0 slots page 1 on Google, that means we're page 2 or deeper. And we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2, which means 80% of people, they're page 1 only searches, which means page 1 is the only place that matters. Page 2 and deeper, we're basically dead. 1 slot. If we got 1 slot on page 1 Google, that ain't enough. And that ain't enough because everyone else has got 1 slot as well. Some people may have 2. And so we're going to be, price shop to death. Buyers just going to go down, hit each link, open up their website, contact them, price shop, negotiate, price shop. And, just the killer for every boudoir photography business. Now, 0-1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. It's extremely common. Everyone accepts it as normal, but it's not. There's 2 deeper root causes: market saturation, which basically everyone knows about, and then the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, yeah, people get a new iPhone, get a new camera, get new gear. They throw up their Google Maps profile, saying they shoot boudoir. They throw up their website, saying they shoot boudoir, compete on page 1 for the high intent keywords with us. And they also they also come in, through like COVID. That was like big market saturation. People lost their jobs, but everyone has a smartphone with awesome cameras. So a ton of new boudoir photographers came through. And, that's more sellers for the same number of buyers makes it harder for every seller to win, every individual seller to win. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality is an interesting one because from what I've discovered seems like nearly all boudoir photographers kind of accept that, I don't know, each boudoir photographer should either get 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and however the dice falls, that's simply what it is. Maybe they had 1 slot page 1, then someone new came in, ranked their website higher, they got, and it pushed them off to page 2, and it's like, okay, well, that's simply how it is, and that's how it is. But in fact, we've discovered that Google will actually give as many page 1 slots as someone wants to put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google to 9 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google page 1 in only 10 days using this new strategy that we developed, that you'll see in 2 pictures here. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So if we're on page, we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, and we're missing, approximately 80% of searches never even seeing us. Yeah, we're definitely disappearing boudoir photographer. If we got 1 slot on page 1, we're still invisible. We're disappearing boudoir photographer. And this is kind of the first sign, the canary in the coal mine, the blinking warning light telling us that, basically telling us that our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing once this happens. So this is our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and page 1 equality. There's a false belief of page 1 equality. But thankfully, finally, we have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, S-cubed methodology. And the way it works is right in the name, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest intent buyer, boudoir buyer keywords to show up there. And when we do show up there, we're dominating social search. That's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America, where the snow is melting. It's small, flowing into small streams, small rivers, and eventually at the end it flows into the Amazon River. That Amazon River is page one on Google, but we first got to get the snow and the small rivers, small streams first. The inputs, that's saturating social search. And what's awesome about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen for boudoir photographers that can allow a boudoir photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation in a reasonable time and successfully compete against market saturation. The only other thing that I've seen that can do it obviously is a brand, massive well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years to actually acquire. We ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore, dude. We got AI coming, taking people's jobs, gonna force more people to be, into the photography market as photographers. We don't have time to rely 5 to 10 years to create a brand anymore. But now, an example of how SQ methodology, still can allow boudoir photography business to grow in the face of massive market saturation. Let's say you've got 1 million boudoir photographers in Topeka, Kansas, and we're one of them. Everyone's got their website saying they do boudoir, and as a result, we are actually now competing against, we got 999,999 other competitors. And so competition is super fierce on page one of Google. So we crank up SQ methodology to the max. And let's say, dude, we're able to get the first 300 slots for like all the highest intent keywords across all social media search platforms. And let's say as a result, that flows onto Google. And let's say we got the first 300 slots on Google as well. And there's 10 organic slots per page on Google. So we're taking up the first 30 pages. A buyer literally basically needs to go to page 31 to essentially find any of our competitors. Same if they search anywhere in social media as well. We're taking up all those first 300 slots. So whose business is growing in this case? Ours. Why? Because we're basically the only ones seen anywhere. We're seen everywhere someone searches, we're there taking up all the slots. And so, even though there's massive market saturation, we're still the business that's growing, and everyone else is disappearing, slowing down, shrinking, going away. So that's the magic of SQ methodology. Next, once treated with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. And so, we got the first initial benefit, which is more page one slots. The second initial benefit is every new slot we take on page one, we actually are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Because now we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two. So we're making them invisible to, 4 out of every 5 people, approximately 80% of the market, the bulk of the market. And we're getting like double, triple, quadruple the exposure. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is where the GBC recommended minimum of 3 slots comes in, because basically everyone else is going to have 1 slot. Our 3 slots going to dominate them. And there's also going to be a small chance someone could have 2 slots, but we're going to dominate them as well because we got 3. And that's what BSV means. And boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. So it's our micro universe. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and, most importantly, the false belief of page one inequality, which we now know is false, which we'll see my results with it, proving it false in the next picture. Finally, thankfully, thank the universe, we finally got the solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility, we become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, dude, so now my results using S-cubed methodology for myself. So I want to rank for the, you can see right here, the words BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one on Google for these words. So I purely used my S-cubed methodology. Come down here to the organic slots here. So I started with 0 slots on page one, and here we go. First organic slot, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page one in Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days, exclusively utilizing S-cubed methodology. All right, so now we're here, the main event. You're gonna see that this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local search. Gonna see if they have it for their city search. All right, so here we go. Boudoir photographer, Roseville, California. So let's see what we got here. All right, we got one. Let's see. All right, we got two. All right, so we got 2 out of 10, so we do not have BSS for the local search, but we did not hit the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So now let's look at the full city search. Sacramento. So let's see here. Let's see, we got nope, 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 nope. Nope. All right, so it looks like we got 0 out of 10 here for Sac. All right, so we're missing a bunch of Sacramento peeps. All right, so final verdict, we got, well, we do not have BSS for Roseville, the local search, but we did not meet the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10. And for the city search, yeah, we got BSS. We're at 0 out of 10 there. And we're actually, we also did not meet the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 organic page one Google slots. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got boudoir search sameness, you search locally and do a local search and a city search for the high intent keywords, and you got boudoir search sameness, and you've realized now that page one equality is a false belief, and now we have a methodology to take as many page one slots as we want, depending on how much effort we want to put in. And we actually, we see the market saturation, and we see what AI is doing to people's jobs. And as a result, we know that as AI takes more and more people's jobs, the amount of boudoir photographers over time is actually going to increase. Because what happened during COVID? Lots of people lost their jobs, put themselves out there as boudoir photographers, got the website, got the Facebook page, got the Google My Business profile, like a whole big, deluge of boudoir photographers entered the market, pushing a ton of people off page one that have been there for a while. And so you're saying, okay, AI is going to take more people's jobs. It's going to have way more boudoir photographers entering the market. We need to position ourselves, defend our territory, and actually get more territory on page one of Google. So when these boudoir photographers come in, they don't affect our business at all, because we'll have so much coverage on page one, they'll be forced to be on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page 2. They stay right on page 1. So we'll be hitting the bulk of the searchers, and we'll actually be pushing off our current competitors off page 1 as well. And so you're seeing at 3, the S-cubed methodology is the only way to get you there. And you also see kind of the back-end bonuses of using it, we haven't even talked about yet, which are, when we're ranked for these high intent keywords across all social search, and then that pulls into Google search, it creates like thematic keyword pillars of our brand, our name, our account names, our brand, our website, and it increases the probability. We show up here for AI overview for local and city search, increases that probability. It increases the probability we show up for AI search in all AI search positions or apps like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Gemini search. Kind of, it's a back-end benefit because we're having these thematic keyword pillars all around our brand. Where, last time I used ChatGPT search, asking about boudoir photographers in the city, dude, it brought up 3. And that was it. And so, kind of the back-end benefits is we're future-proofing the business because more and more people are going to be using AI search and basically kind of dominating social search, flows through to dominating page 1 Google search, which is kind of the canary in the coal mine. If we're increasing the probability, we're ranking on AI search, which would, there's no back end number of how close we are to ranking on it, but all these things that we're doing increases that probability. So we're kind of hitting like 5 different birds with one stone. And also you're noticing that if someone else in your city hops on this first and gets this momentum to all these benefits first, then, well, 1, I cannot work with you because current plan is only work with 1 person per city. And 2, you have to figure out how to do this S-cubed methodology yourself and all the time to implement it. And you don't even know if you're doing it correctly. So we have our own proprietary methodology. And you'd have to equal our output to maintain against us if we're already working with someone else in the same city. And you'd have to exceed our output to actually make progress on us and all the momentum we would have already made with another boudoir photographer in your current city, to kind of get these thematic keyword pillars attached to our brand. So it's kind of just this big, massive momentum builder for whoever's the first mover boudoir photographer in their city. And we got our final 6 questions here as always. If basically how many slots you think could actually get on page 1 of Google. Remember, this is downstream of already in the top ranked page 1 of social search on all the social search engines. And how many more boudoir clients could that bring for the lifetime of the business, and then how much profit would that generate for the lifetime of the business? And then if someone else went with me first and is it possible you get kicked off page 1 Google search and get relegated to page 2 or page 3? How much would that increase or decrease the probability to get buyers over your business lifetime? How many buyers do you believe you could lose, and how much lifetime profit could you lose? So if you decide S-cubed methodology is for you, you definitely want it. This is the thing you've been looking for, waiting for. And shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. My DMs are closed right now. Hospital is closed, but when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.